right. Statement by President Joe Biden on Armenian Remembrance Day. Each year on this day, we remember the lives of all those who died in the Ottoman-era Armenian Genocide and recommit ourselves to preventing such an atrocity from ever again occurring. Beginning on April 24, 1915, with the arrest of Armenian intellectuals and community leaders in Constantinople by Ottoman authorities, 1.5 million Armenians were deported, massacred, or marched to their deaths in a campaign of extermination. We honor the victims of Meds Yeghern so that the horrors of what happened are never lost to history. And we remember so that we remain ever vigilant against the corrosive influence of hate in all its forms. Of those who survived, most were forced to find new homes and new lives around the world, including in the United States. With strength and resilience, the Armenian people survived and rebuilt their community. Over the decades, Armenian immigrants have enriched the United States in countless ways, but they have never forgotten the tragic history that brought so many of their ancestors to our shores. We see that pain. We affirm the history. We do this not to cast blame, but to ensure that what happened is never repeated. Today, as we mourn what was lost, let us also turn our eyes to the future, toward the world that we wish to build for our children. A world unstained by the daily evils of bigotry and intolerance, where human rights are respected and where all people are able to pursue their lives in dignity and security. Let us renew our shared resolve to prevent future atrocities from occurring anywhere in the world. And let us pursue healing and reconciliation for all the people of the world. The American people honor all those Armenians who perished in the genocide that began 106 years ago today. The truth, at long last, the truth.
Yeah.
Thank God. Thank God. To our brothers and sisters, our mothers and fathers, our grandparents and great-grandparents in the Armenian community, let me just say how grateful I am to all of your efforts over many decades to bring this day about. I'm grateful to you that you never gave up hope, that you never lost faith, that you never stopped trying, disappointment after bitter disappointment, to call out the best in this country, to ask us to live up to our ideals, to be once again a champion of human rights and dignity. You have made us a better country, and we are very grateful. And to President Biden, I want to say a personal thanks for your courage, your willingness to speak truth to power, your willingness to honor your commitment, a commitment that so many other presidents made as candidates for president, but failed to honor. You are a man of your word, and we are proud of what you have done today. This recognition comes 106 years after the genocide began. That is a long time to wait for an acknowledgement of the horror of the first genocide of the last century, but it also comes at a very important time. A time when Azerbaijan and Turkey once again made war against the Armenian people. A time when there are fears of another genocide in the making in Artsakh and in Armenia. The President's willingness to speak truth to power is a firm indication that the United States will stand beside its democratic allies, will be willing to stand up to autocrats and dictators and those that would murder their neighbors. So this comes at a very important time. The truth, my friends, my wonderful friends in the Armenian community, the truth at long last. Thank God. It is now my pleasure to introduce another great champion of the Armenian Genocide, my colleague, Representative Judy Chu.
Today is an historic day, a day that has been far too long in coming. Finally, after 100 years, after being disappointed so many times, President Biden has declared that what has happened to the American people at the hands of the Ottomans was a genocide. Thank you, Congressmember Adam Schiff, for organizing this press conference and for leading our efforts for this recognition for so many years. This recognition is so significant because there are those who would want to forget what happened to the Armenian people. They want to brush it aside or whitewash it as just the price of war. But if we allowed that to happen, we would be insulting the memory of 1.5 million lives lost and giving comfort to those responsible. Instead, today the U.S. has joined so many other countries in ensuring that we will never forget what happened and why. I know that I can never forget because I've had the privilege of getting to know the Armenian community here in Southern California and in my Pasadena district, which has one of the oldest Armenian American communities in the United States. I've had the opportunity to hear from people like Joseph Bibo Meds. I met Bibo when he was just 104 years young, and from his wheelchair, he told me about the family members he lost in the genocide. Even so many years later, he never forgot those he lost. And neither can we. Sadly, Bibo passed away not long ago, but because he spoke up and because he taught others about what he experienced, we can ensure that his story will never be forgotten, just as we will never forget the millions of others impacted by this genocide. And that is why, for years, I have been a co-sponsor of the resolution in the House to recognize this genocide, a resolution that we finally passed in October 2019 after so many years of trying. And it is why I have consistently called on presidents from both parties to recognize that genocide. And now, the House, the Senate, and the White House have all taken this step. But we still have work to do. I'm proud that I have been to Armenia and can attest to the fact that despite this attempted genocide, the Armenian people are still alive and thriving. But the unjustified attacks by Azerbaijan this summer show that there are still those who want to uproot the Armenian people, and that's why we must stand by the people of Armenia and Artsakh as they struggle for the right to self-determination. So thank you all for joining us on this incredibly historic day. We can never undo what happened 106 years ago, but by being honest about what happened and recognizing it as a genocide, we can honor those we lost and help ensure it never happens again.
Judy, thank you so much. It's now my privilege to introduce my colleague, Representative Tony Cardenas.
Thank you, Adam. I am honored to be here today amongst my brothers and sisters in the Armenian community. But first, I want to take the opportunity to thank and acknowledge a champion for all communities, but the biggest champion in California for the Armenian community. I was very blessed and fortunate to meet a then young man when we served together in the state legislature, somebody who I immediately saw as a righteous, upstanding individual who fights for what's right, regardless of who disagrees about the truth. And that is my brother and my friend, Adam Schiff. Every year when he was in the legislature in California, him in the Senate, me in the Assembly, he would introduce the resolution to recognize, formally recognize, the Armenian Genocide that began tragically 106 years ago. And they took the souls, the lives of 1.5 million beautiful men, women, and children. But for far too long, this country, the United States of America, which is great, would not recognize it at the highest level of our organization, our government, our country. But today is a proud day. It's a sad day for history, but a proud day to look forward and say, never again should we have the United States not formally recognize the Armenian Genocide for what it was. Something that should have never taken place. Something that could happen again to one or another community around the world. But never again will we close our eyes or be silent to the truth of the vacancy of so many lives. I stand here with my brothers and sisters in Congress to thank you for being so beautiful, being so giving, being so excellent, and making this country, the United States of America, better than it was before your family got here, before your family contributed. It warms my heart to see those of you who brought the little ones with you, the little children, who are so innocent, and their laughter and their smiles have yet to be negatively infected, like sometimes what happens to adults, people who commit atrocities like genocide. So it's not lost on me that every time one of us comes to this podium to speak the truth, we also remind ourselves that there's a vacancy. The people that we lost, the people that are not present, that vacancy is filled with your love. It's filled with your commitment to never, ever let anybody on this planet forget you and your people. The children that died, the women that were murdered, the men who fought for their lives and were killed because they said, no, I deserve to exist. You cannot do that to me. You cannot do that to my people. Never again. Congratulations, President Biden, for doing something that is so obvious and so simple, which is just to speak the truth on behalf of the Armenian people. Thank you so much for inviting us to be here today, Adam Schiff, and all the community members. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Cardenas. It's now my great pleasure to introduce my colleague and friend and a great champion of the Armenian Genocide, Representative Jimmy Gomez.
Thank you so much. I want to just say, this is your day. To every single individual in the Armenian community, you made this happen. And this is not a day of recognizing the truth or acknowledging the truth, because the truth was always there. It just took people 106 years to speak that truth. But we know what happened 106 years ago. That there was a genocide, the beginning of a genocide of 1.5 million Armenian women, men, and children by the Ottoman Empire. We know that this was recognized even back then. Something that happened but could not be given the true name by our government. So this is an important day, that it is being recognized by the first time by our government. And it sends a loud message to Turkey and anyone else that the Armenian community matters, that the Armenia matters. And we're going to do what we have to do in order to defend that community, because there are our brothers and sisters. I just want to say, at the same time, I feel proud, and so should you. Because sometimes when our government doesn't recognize a simple fact, a truth, it almost says that you're not part of this country, right? That you don't belong here. And by this recognition, it says that you are American through and through. That your descendants matter, your ancestors matter, right? That's what it says. And it means that we're all part of that same American family, no matter where we come from. So to everyone who has fought this fight, thank you. And I've been proud to be a member of the Armenian caucus in the Assembly, proud to be a member of the Armenian caucus in the Congress, and this is something that we have fought for year after year. But it does not end there. We must end the attack on Armenia now, because we are losing lives from mothers, fathers, and children still to this day. So with that, I just want to say thank you to your community for making us a better country and never giving up this fight to speak the truth.
Thank you, Representative Gomez. It's my great pleasure now to introduce Nora Hovsepian, Chair of the ANC Western Region. I've been fighting for genocide recognition for 25 years as a legislator. Nora has been fighting for recognition for her entire life, which is just a little bit more than 25 years that I've been at it. And no one, I think, has dedicated herself more fully, more completely than Nora has to vindicate the truth. Nora Hovsepian.
Thank you, Congressman Schiff, for those kind words. It's an honor and a privilege to be here today representing the voice of the Armenian American community, and I thank you for giving me this opportunity. After 106 years of persistent struggle, the Armenian American community has finally reached a tremendous milestone on the road to justice. Today, as we honor the victims of the Armenian Genocide, we also give thanks to all those who helped us reach this point, from our allies and supporters in Congress, such as our amazing 4 representatives here today, as well as all of our state and local officials who have been allies with us all along, to the media, which helps educate the public, to our hundreds of thousands of activists and coalition partners who continue to relentlessly pursue a just resolution and accountability for this unpunished crime against humanity. I think I can speak for virtually every Armenian when I say that today it feels like a huge weight has been finally lifted from our shoulders. A heavy burden we have all borne our entire lives, which was passed down through generations by our grandparents who came to these shores as orphans, having lost their entire families, while the perpetrators walked away with impunity. For too long, we were silenced by government officials who, for political expediency, ignored their own history. For too long, we have had to deal with grief, despair, anger, and trauma. But there have been glimmers of hope along the way. In 1981, for example, President Ronald Reagan uttered the words Armenian Genocide during a Holocaust Remembrance Day event. Alas, it did not become official U.S. policy. Next came recognition by 49 of the 50 U.S. states, many of them, all of them, calling on the federal government to do the same. Still, it did not happen. In 2019, the near unanimous congressional recognition of the Armenian Genocide in both the House and the Senate finally altered the course of U.S. policy, at least for the legislative branch, for which we were so grateful. Our most vocal proponents of truth and justice, led by Congressman Adam Schiff for decades, kept the issue alive year after year, confronting Turkish apologists and calling out each administration, Republican and Democrat, for allowing Turkey to have a veto over American foreign policy and for their weakness in letting the Turkish dictator Erdogan and his predecessors bully them into using euphemisms to describe what they always knew to be genocide. That is, until now, until today. President Joe Biden, who for decades in the Senate was a strong proponent of Armenian genocide recognition, who as vice president attended the memorial service for the 1.5 million martyrs at the National Cathedral on the occasion of the Genocide Centennial, and who pledged last year to support Armenian Genocide recognition like many candidates before him, actually took the bold step of doing the right thing by rejecting Turkey's gag rule, disengaging the United States from Turkey's ongoing campaign of denial, and delivering to us such a hard-fought and long-awaited victory on the road to justice, as now government-wide U.S. recognition has become complete and unequivocal. Today, the ANCA Western Region has sent an invitation to President Biden to come to Los Angeles to give our community, the largest in the Armenian diaspora, the opportunity to express its profound gratitude to him for being the first and only modern U.S. president to affirm America's vast historical record on the issue of the Armenian Genocide, and we hope that he will accept our invitation in the near future. The President's announcement is even more poignant now in the wake of the 44-day war unleashed jointly by Turkey and its ally Azerbaijan against Armenia and Artsakh. And it puts the historical record of 1915 into present-day context. You see, Turkey's genocidal intent has never ended. We hear it in Erdogan's promise to finish what his grandfather started. We hear it in Aliyev's threats to take all Armenian lands by force. We witness it in their intentional destruction of Armenian ancient churches, monasteries, cemeteries, and monuments. They try even now to rid the area of Armenians and to erase any trace of thousands of years of Armenian heritage. They commit war crimes. They torture prisoners of war. They capture civilians, destroy Armenian towns and villages, teach their children to hate. And they build dehumanizing trophy parks, all with impunity, emboldened by the silence of Western leaders and fueled by their vicious, ultranationalist, pan-Turkic aspirations. So it was in 1915, and so it is today. So beyond the immense symbolic value of U.S. recognition of the Armenian Genocide to set the historical record straight, this recognition finally ends the era of U.S. complicity in Turkey's denial, once and for all. It safeguards the Armenians' right to exist against ongoing threats of annihilation. It promotes the right of Armenia and Artsakh to exist in peace without threat of invasion. And it sends a message to dictators of the world that their aggression will no longer be met with silence and trepidation. And it finally opens the door to truth, accountability, and most of all, justice. On behalf of the ANCA Western Region, its local chapters, volunteers, thousands of activists, and the Armenian American community that it represents, I want to express our profound gratitude to Congress members Adam Schiff, Judy Chu, Tony Cardenas, Jimmy Gomez, and their hundreds of colleagues for the courage you have all shown our community. We are honored to have you represent us, and we are grateful to you all. Thank you.
Before we turn to questions, I do want to ask for the privilege of inviting some of our great champions at the state and local level to say a few words. We have been joined by State Senator Anthony Portantino, who has been a tremendous ally of the Armenian community in the legislature. Anthony, would you come up and say a couple words?
Wow. I just want to join. Let's give it up for Congressman Adam Schiff and our congressional leaders. for being so strong for the community. And what a powerful speech by Nora Hosepian. Let's recognize her poignant words. I'm proud to represent the 25th State Senate District, home to the largest Armenian community of any district in the country, and to share this wonderful news, this great moment that President Biden has done the right thing. And as it's been said, we all knew this was the right thing, but today all branches of the U.S. government have acknowledged the right thing, and that is historic. And as it's been said, I'm relatively new to this fight, probably 20 years. And I'm from New Jersey, and home to another proud Armenian American community. And I remember my mom talking about the Near East relief and the orphans, and I know Nora has a personal connection to that story as well. And I remember her talking about Woodrow Wilson and his connection to the genocide. So I grew up with that education, and that's why I know there are educators here for the Burbank Unified School District as well who teach this generation of how important the genocide is. And so I stand in solidarity with my friends and my neighbors and the Armenian community to say we will never ever forget, Mishti Shel, we will never forget what transpired 106 years ago, and we will make sure the descendants continue to thrive in California and across the diaspora, and that we confront human rights abuses always and consistently, because those are our values. So God bless, and thank you for letting me share this moment with you, because this is a collective moment, because what affects one of us affects all of us. A tragedy to one is a tragedy to all. I get to say that, you got to live that. And so God bless you for being so proud and so diligent in your advocacy, and thank you to President Joe Biden for doing the right thing today. God bless.
We're also fortunate to have tremendous leadership in the State Assembly, in Assemblymember Laura Friedman, another fabulous champion of the Armenian Genocide. Laura Friedman.
Thank you, Congressman. It is an honor to be here today. Every year, this day in April is a very solemn day for our community, for the Armenian community and the greater community in Glendale and Burbank. This year, the sadness and the pain that I've seen on the faces of my constituents, though, is something that I've never witnessed before, as we see aggression against Armenia and Artsakh, unprovoked aggression, war, and murder on Armenian soil, on soil that has been Armenian homeland soil, fields, towns, for a thousand years. And so while today the news about the genocide recognition from the Biden administration is so welcome, and I know will bring a measure of relief and joy to our community, we also have to remember that there are current acts of aggression against the Armenian people that the international community must call out and must stand up against. We can't allow a genocide displacement to happen today in our very midst, under our watch. So I want to also thank Congressman Adam Schiff, who has been such an incredible champion for this cause, the ANCA, Burbank, Glendale, across the western states, the city of Burbank for holding this event, Burbank for Armenia, and all of the organizations that made today possible, and of course the entire congressional delegation. And let's be vigilant and let's be loud about what's happening in Artsakh and Armenia. Thank you all.
I pride myself on representing in my district more Armenians than any other representative, which isn't exactly correct. Because Catherine Barger, our LA County Supervisor, represents an even larger community and has been a wonderful champion of the Armenian Genocide, Supervisor Barger.
As I told Congressman Schiff when I was driving over here and I heard on the news that President Biden had acknowledged the genocide, I got teary. This has been a long, hard fought battle. Each year we think we're going to get close. Each year I stand in solidarity with my Armenian brothers and sisters, and each year I get a letter from Turkey threatening me. I will not be bullied. I stand tall with you. And I again want to thank Congressman Schiff, because without you, and your colleagues, we wouldn't be here standing tall. So God bless Armenia. We have a lot more work to do, and we're all ready to do it together. Let history not repeat itself. Thank you.
And finally, as we are in the city of Burbank, and we are very grateful for all of Burbank's efforts at Armenian Genocide recognition. I know we have Mayor Bob Frutos. I see School Board Member Arman Agakanian and other local officials from the city of Burbank. If they could come up one at a time and introduce themselves to the audience. I'm sure there are others that I can't see behind their masks. And we thank you for being here.
Good morning. My name is Bob Frutos. I have the privilege of being the mayor of the city of Burbank, and I stand solid with our congressman. It's because of him that we're here. He never wavered. But I want to keep this short because I have other colleagues here. But I also want to thank the Burbank ANC chapter. They've always had an open door policy, and I thank them for continuously working with me as partners to make sure that the people in our community, the Armenians, are well represented and your voice is heard at City Hall. Thank you for having me here, and thank you for this privilege. This is a great day in our history as a people of the city of Burbank and of this great country. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sharon Springer, Burbank City Council, and I'm so very honored to be here. And I'm very inspired that it takes speaking up and not being bullied and persisting and not quitting, never ever giving up. And it took 106 years, but let's continue. Let's stay together and let's continue to speak up and fight for what's right. I'm very honored. Thank you very much.
I'll be brief. Constantine Anthony. You know, I was elected in November, and just days after that election, I saw so many of our Armenian brothers and sisters deal with the news coming from Artsakh. There were many Greeks and many Syrians that were taken in those years, 1915, 1916, 1917, and so it is so appreciative to know that our Armenian brothers and sisters are finally getting the recognition they deserve, getting the acknowledgement of what a genocide is. The word didn't even exist 106 years ago, and to know that we are able to see it for what it is and to know what happened, that the truth comes to light is so powerful. Thank you so much.
Okay, good morning everyone. 106 years ago, a tragedy took place, and today the United States government has formally recognized that tragedy. But as so many of my esteemed colleagues have said, the work isn't done. You know, a couple months ago, the city of Burbank revoked our friendship city status with Hadrut. We also took the first step of recognizing the Republic of Artsakh. And that is the next step that we ask of my colleagues in Congress and of our federal government. And as we do this together, we have to remember that we have to be students of history. We must always remember that what happened can never be forgotten, and we must meet ongoing discrimination and violence and genocide with an equal measure of resistance and commitment to freedom and democracy wherever it is. Thank you all. God bless you all, and thank you to all the organizers of today's event.
Identify yourself.
Yes, Nick Schultz, Burbank City Council.
Marilus Hay Jogavurt. It is by the way, I just said good morning, Armenian people, for those of you who don't speak Armenian. And what a wonderful morning it is. I am Dr. Armand Agakanian. I'm a member of the Burbank Board of Education. And I'm very proud to be here not only with all of our champions. Some of them I've known over 20 years. We've been fighting this fight for so long. Sorry, I'm not going to get emotional, but we're here today finally. And thank you, President Biden. Thank you, President Biden, for finally recognizing the truth. Here at Burbank, our school district's also been at forefront, not only recognizing the Armenian Genocide, not only making sure that we teach about the past and all the atrocities that happened against 1.5 million Armenians, but also we have a zero tolerance when it comes to people that want to deny the past. And trust me, we've been confronted several times when it comes to, the past. And the truth is, this happened. It took us 106 years to get here, but we're finally here. But we need to continue the education, as some of my friends said earlier. As we speak today, the bones of young soldiers being delivered to their parents, young soldiers who went to the front fighting for their motherland, and they were annihilated by weapons, drones that were purchased by blood oil money from Azerbaijan and Turkey. Let us not forget that as we speak right now, these atrocities continue. So I do want to thank the city of Burbank and Glendale and Burbank Board of Education and my colleagues for asking for the recognition of Artsakh as an independent country, as a nation, but also making sure that we continue our fight. This is not over. We're just getting started. So I want to take this opportunity to introduce my colleague, another champion for the Armenian Genocide and all human causes, our board president, Mr. Steve Fridner.
Thank you. I'm Steve Fridner, president of the Burbank Board of Education. My colleague has spoken so eloquently, as have all the speakers before us. I don't know that I could put it any more so. I'm proud to be a part of this recognition this morning. I want to thank President Biden for the decency and the courage to finally admit the truth on behalf of our country. It's an incredible step and one that's been long waited for in this community. I want to thank the ANCA and all their supporters locally. It's been my privilege to work with them in my time on the board and to be a supporter of theirs as they have been of me. We will continue to try, and as my colleague said, as a school board, we have recognized the genocide, recognized the need to do more, and we will continue to try and do more. So thank you very much.
It's also my honor to introduce my new colleague and our newly elected board member, Emily Weisberg, who's also been a great champion for the Armenian Genocide and all the human rights causes. Dr. Weisberg.
Thank you, sir. Hi. As a member of the Jewish community, this month we also recognize Holocaust Remembrance Month. And I speak from experience when I say that the only way that healing can begin is when you recognize that a wrong has been committed. When perpetrators admit the wrong they have done, and you can begin to heal. So I am overwhelmed that President Biden today has done the right thing, and the United States has joined in recognizing that this wrong has been committed. It is my hope that this is the beginning of a healing process, and that we as members of the Burbank Board of Education can support our Armenian students, our Armenian parents, our Armenian staff and teachers, and that we can continue to educate, because never again means all of us. Never again means all of us, whether that's our Armenian community, the Uyghur community in China, the Jewish community. So I stand in solidarity with my Armenian brothers and sisters. I stand in solidarity with all of our students, teachers, faculty and staff when I say how proud I am to stand with President Biden, with Congressman Schiff and others as we begin the healing process by recognizing 106 years too late the Armenian Genocide. So thank you.
I thank you to all my colleagues. I thank all my colleagues. I know our program has run long. If there are just a couple quick questions from anyone in the press, I'm happy to respond.
What do you think changed that allowed President Biden to do what no president had done before?
Well, I think a number of things changed. This president came into office with a Congress that was united behind recognition. For 19 years, I carried a bill to recognize the Armenian Genocide with the strong support of my colleague, Representative Chu. That bill passed last session with 405 votes. That was the first time that bill was taken up on the House floor in decades. A similar measure in the Senate passed on a unanimous voice vote. So the president understood that should he take the step of recognizing the genocide, that he would have a united Congress behind him. What's more, I think Joe Biden has reached the point of his life and career where he is more than ready to speak the plain facts of history and damn the consequences. And he comes to office with a lifetime record of being a champion for human rights, someone who understood deeply the facts and the history of the Armenian people and of the genocide. So that is what has changed. And I also think that the backdrop of this terrible war and the threat of future genocides in the region prompted him to act as he did. Thank you all so much for coming today. Thank you to the city of Burbank, and God bless America.
All right. Yeah, so much.
Pretty good, pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. Pretty good. Arush, I'm wondering that this
Take a pen around.
Man, I brought a 10 millimeters.